what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are right outside of Helen, Georgia in the Twisty Road mountain area. And guess what? We have that one German sports car icon. This is it. This is a 2022 Porsche 911. But guess what? This is the all new updated Carrera GTS. But before we get into this bright silver iconic standout, let's talk about what's going on here. Porsche. It all started with the 356. Of course, we all know the 911, the 911. Been other models as well, but really the one that has stayed true to itself for so long, more so than any other vehicle out there that's being produced today, is the Porsche 911. Now, what's awesome is with the 911, there's different ways you could have it. You could go total craziness, total straight line performance with the 911 Turbo S. Of course, we got that track focused GT3. Well, guess what? This GTS is going to slot perfectly between the Carrera S and that track focused GT3. So when it comes to the GTS, don't think of it just being in this coupe form. You could actually get GTS convertible. You could get the GTS with the all-wheel drive, of course, the Carrera 4. But you could also even get the Targa. Now, I talked with some of the people here at Porsche. The two top selling ones, believe it or not, are gonna be the Coupe and the Targa. So that's why we picked this one specifically just for you. What it basically does is it takes some of the options that normally you would spec into a Carrera or a Carrera S and makes them standard when you go GTS. So let's go ahead. Let's dive into this GT Silver. Makes sense. GT Silver on a GTS Porsche 911 and find out, is this the sweet spot, the best 911 to buy when it comes to overall price and performance? And also we're going to kind of look at that other value priced sports car, if you could even use that word value, is going to be the C8 Corvette. So let's go ahead, let's dive into our 911 GTS and find out. Right off the bat, the color. If you go back many years in early Grand Prix racing, sports car endurance racing, the color of the car actually was specific to the country of origin. And it just so happens that German cars were silver. So that's why this color right off the bat fits it. Now, when you go GTS, it's not just some extra performance, because you're going to get extra performance, but you're also getting unique special touches. One of those things is going to be sort of like a little bit of a black appearance package. When you look at the headlight style, absolutely stunning how they took the lighting technology from their Le Mans prototype race cars, brought it for the road. You'll notice the gloss black ring all the way around, and the taillights and headlights are a little bit kind of smoked to give it that black appearance overall feel. Now, when you look at the front of a 911, you might say, oh, they all look the same, Joe. I'm here to show you all the details. When you go GTS, you're getting a front fascia that is specific, front fascia and rear fascia that's specific to the GTS. So what do we got? Massive enlarged corner air intakes. All you have is this single horizontal splitter in the center, but you can see the heat exchangers in that massive area. Of course, we're gonna get our LED lighting, and everything is flat black. I like that touch. Now, this comes standard with PASM. What is PASM? That is Porsche's adjustable suspension system, that adaptive suspension system. This actually sits about a half an inch lower than your Carrera S. And you're gonna get all the benefits of that modified, updated suspension. Now, as we come across the front, like I said, very unique, familiar style. You can't confuse a 911 with any other vehicle. But from one side to the other, this one is unique to the GTS. You'll notice the larger air intakes on both sides, and you do have a larger splitter up front to stop air from going underneath the vehicle. Because remember, when air goes underneath, that produces lift. We don't want lift, we want downforce. Now, speaking of lifting, we're gonna lift on up. You got that iconic Porsche badge with all that racing heritage. Dr. Ferdinand Porsche started this car company so many years ago. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, how long has the 911 been around? Basically since around 1963. Split window Corvette, C8 Corvette, 1963, the 911, and we have this GTS. Love the clean lines, very low slung hood. Of course, you got the versatility of the storage up front, and then as you come around the bend, you're gonna get some other goodies from some of those other Porsche 911 models. Wheels, center locking wheels, look familiar? Guess what? They're off a 911 Turbo S. So you're getting that same exact wheel. Love the finish, that nice satin black finish. Like I said, sort of having that blacked out appearance package. You'll notice behind the wheels, those rotors are also familiar. Not only are they massive, but they're from the 911 Turbo. You're gonna get that 6-piston Brembo caliper, bright red. Those are the steel rotors. When you see the red caliper from the factory, those are the steel rotors. Still do plenty of great stopping capability. You can option for, of course, the carbon ceramic rotors, which would give you even more braking performance, but these do a bang up job. Now, just like on the Turbo S, we have 20-inch wheels up front, 21-inch wheels out back, 245 on the width up front, 35 series sidewall, and like I said, this sits a little bit lower than your Carrera S because this slots in between the Carrera S and the GT3. Now coming down the side, you get a nice little tasteful badge, very low on the door sill there, just enough. These are those little things you should be looking for. Color matched on the mirror caps, and then of course that classic greenhouse shape. Now, just like any other Porsche, you could go crazy on the option list. You could go carbon fiber mirror caps. You could go carbon fiber roof. This does have an optional lightweight package. What is that gonna do? That's gonna kind of bring some of the GT3 goodness where they remove the rear seats. You get those one-piece carbon fiber back seats, and of course, less sound deadening material. Plus, underneath the vehicle, they do some extra aero work with that lightweight package. So that's something that you could add that this one doesn't have. That's another box you could check. Now, working your way down, of course, being a 992, you're gonna get those familiar flush mount door handles with that nice flared out fender, and silver, like I said, just shows the body lines perfectly. One of my favorite parts of any 911 is the way the roof line comes into that rear quarter window and just glides back into that fat, flared rear fender. Just absolutely sexy. This is one of those cars that not only do you want to drive, not only do you want to stare at, but washing this, I would love to wash this every day. Absolutely stunning. Now out back, like I said, we're getting a little bit more wider wheel, a little bit more rubber to meet the road because this particular one is rear wheel drive. You can get the 4, which is going to be all wheel drive, but that's a 21-inch wheel. Still working with those nice large calipers. Instead of 6-piston, they're 4-piston calipers. And this one has the optional rear wheel steering. So something that's standard on the GT3, the rear wheel steer, this one has the optional rear wheel steering. Wait until we go on throttle together. We're gonna find out how this Porsche 911 handles. Now, when we come around the bend, you'll notice on the low portion, that extra aero work that's happening. Love the way they have those cutouts, and from the back of the car, it looks really, really just sick. And then of course, having that taillight, that smoked taillight area, all the way across from one end to the other, blacked out on the Porsche badge, blacked out on our 911 Carrera GTS. Here's a little fun fact for you. So first of all, this does have that active spoiler that's gonna raise and lower. When you go lightweight package, it actually raises a little bit higher than what this one does, but you could also leave it in full extended mode if you want to, cruise around the mall parking lot, let people see your lifted rear spoiler. But one of the things that's kind of cool is that there's a little bit of an Easter egg. If you notice this very tasteful design with these vertical slots, full functionality, because remember, we have that engine, just like Dr. Ferdinand Porsche wanted. It's at the back, past the rear axles. This actually says 911. How? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then there's 9 on the other side, and there's your 11 on the center with those smoked third brake lights. So kind of cool the way they brought that together to tie in that the whole 911 history and the whole tradition of that car. Now, as we drop our way down, what you're gonna get with the GTS standard is gonna be the sport exhaust. Love the nice oval opening with the gloss black tips on both sides. Gonna give us that nice active sound. You can make it louder, you can make it quieter, but you know what? Let's see what we could do for the engine and talk about performance, because this isn't just about appearance. We got more horsepower in the GTS. Let's find out how much. All right, guys, when it comes to the engine on a modern 911, very difficult. It's been that way for quite a few years to really get an idea of what that flat six looks like underneath all the sheet metal. And it's the same thing with the GTS. Now, we did pop up the rear area. What I like is you're gonna get that classic 3-liter GTS badge, because we do have a 3-liter flat six that's twin turbocharged. You got your 2 cooling fans with the nice wire mesh. And then of course, that's where you're gonna fill up your fluids. But what are we talking about when we're talking the GTS? So like I said, flat six twin turbo. That does not make this a 911 turbo. The turbos are much smaller than on the actual 911 turbo. But what you're looking at with the GTS is more horsepower. 473 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque. It is going to be mated to either an 8-speed PDK, or guess what? You are able to get a manual. It's a 7-speed manual transmission. When you're looking at weight of the vehicle overall, obviously, depending if you go convertible, depending if you go Targa, depending if you go with a 4 and get all-wheel drive, that's gonna adjust the overall weight. But you're basically looking around 3,391 pounds. When we're talking about some of that extra performance, how do we do it? How did Porsche do it? They went from 16 pounds of boost up to 18.6 pounds of boost. The nice thing about the manual is that it's a no-cost option. And what's great is we'll see that there's actually a change that they made to the actual shifter once we get inside the vehicle. But of course, MPGs, you're looking at 18 in the city, 23 on the highway. And then depending on what you are looking for, if you want that crisp engagement, you can go with the manual transmission. If you want, of course, that ultimate when it comes to the fastest shifting of the dual clutch transmissions, that PDK is really the way to go. And like they say, there is no substitute. Porsche, there is no substitute. But you know what? Talking about the car is one thing, looking at it is definitely another. If you're ready, I'm ready. Get ready for some eargasms. We're gonna fire up this GTS and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this beautiful GT Silver 911 Carrera GTS. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I don't need a fully track focused car like the GT3. I don't even need a turbo or a Turbo S, but I want something more than a Carrera or a Carrera S. It seems like they made this for me, but how much is it? So this one, the way that it's optioned is right around $144,000. Some of the things to think about: 0 to 60 in this car with the 8-speed PDK is about 3.2 seconds. If you know how to do your dance with the twinkle toes and the 6-speed, you're looking around 3.4 seconds. If you want the lightweight package, it costs around $8,600. That gets rid of the rear seats, more sound deadening. They add some extra aero bits underneath the vehicle, and of course the carbon fiber single piece bucket seats. And then another thing that's gonna help this GTS handle better than the Carrera S is we got the helper springs off of the turbo on the rear suspension. But let's see how it stacks up to the C8 Corvette and the other 911s to the door panel. Nice, clean, style. You're getting some soft touch material, a little bit of dark aluminum finish, because remember the whole blackout theme, and then you are getting a little bit of race text on the armrest itself. Other than that, no gloss black. You got a good sized pocket there for a nice large bag of boiled peanuts. And then going from the door panel to the dash, same story. Soft touch material, that dark aluminum style finish, and then watch this. They hide a cup holder. Boom. On the 992, you have a cup holder for the passenger. You could put that medium size peach smoothie from Jamba Juice instead of having that larger system with the two. I like this single one, and then it closes up very seamless. Now, when you get to the center stack, we do have standard, the Sport Chrono package that comes standard on the GTS, and we do have, of course, that 10.2-inch infotainment system screen, touchscreen capability. Let me show you a couple of my favorite features. First of all, you got, when you go to home, you got that extra swipe page, set up your different icons and showings. Then you go into settings. You scroll nicely, you go into vehicle. This is where you could work on your smart lift. So this has the optional smart lift system. What it does is it automatically saves up to 1,000 locations once you use it. And this is where you could go delete them, save them, see what you got going on. Really nice system, and it lowers and brings it back to that standard height. Now we're back to this setup. You got your Sport Chrono. This is where you're going to be able to have your evaluate your times, record your times, the whole 9 yards, just like a stopwatch for when you're doing your track day. Because even though this isn't a GT3, you can still do your track day. We got all the ways to make it our adjustments, including the spoiler extended. So if you want to drive around the mall parking lot and extend that spoiler, you hit that and it shows it right there, and you make it go. You can retract it, 1, 2, 3, just like that, and we're done. Right back to home. Reverse. There's your backup camera. Pretty clear resolution. Not the clearest, but I've definitely seen worse. You do have trajectory, which is nice, and your sensory technology, both front and rear. And then you just get right out of it that way. Toggle switches for the lift system, for the sport exhaust. You see how I light it up? Now you get a little bit more rumble. You can shut off your traction control. You can make your adjustment with your PASM. Either go soft or harder suspension. And then down below, you got your dual climate controls, some gloss black, which I'm gonna zonk is not my favorite, but what is my favorite, instead of the 8-speed PDK, we have the no-cost optional 7-speed manual transmission. Now on the GTS, they actually lowered the shift knob, the whole shift lever, about 1 inch. So not only is it lower, they did revise, compared to the earlier 7-speed manual transmissions, they did revise each of the gears, but I'm telling you, very, very sharp, crisp engagement. Really digging that they give you that option to have the 7-speed. You got the 911 badge, of course, blacked out. It's got that dark finish. We do have 3 stages of ventilated seats and 3 stages of heated seats. So nice to have that in this particular model. You got your cup holder, which is removable. I would get rid of it and just put the little coin cup there for your Buffalo nickels. Here's your Porsche key fob. I'll show you that you don't have to use this to start up the vehicle anymore like in the past, and it's got that great Porsche shape. Dark finish all the way around. Race text, open it up, place for your phone, some Twizzlers, and 2 USB-Cs. And then this one has the adjustable seats, 18-way adjustable, the leather, nice stitching, nice bolstering. They're comfy enough for everyday use, but you could also do your track day or your autocross event in it. Plus, we can't forget, down below, you do have your cargo net for your track Twinkies, 1 Twinkie for your passenger over there, and then we do have a back seat. So I'm gonna pull this forward. There's your back seat. Maybe for a small child, a paper mache doll of yourself, or a big, huge teddy bear. That's about it, but it's nice to have that. You can fold down the seat if you want to and pretend. You can tell everybody, I have 2 seats. That's all I got. And then you don't have to give anybody a ride. But why don't you come over here? I want to show you the business end of the GTS. Guys, business time behind the wheel. There's our blacked out 911 Carrera GTS badge. It's a mouthful, but it's worth saying. Pedal box. This is the one you want to option with the clutch. Nice light clutch engagement. It's got a good pickup point, and the pedal box is superb for heel-toe downshifting. You got your seat controls all the way down below, and these seats do have manual bottoms, which it would be nice if standard it came with an electric sliding forward and backward seat. The rest of it is power adjustable, which is nice. I got plenty of headroom. I'm 6 feet tall. From the GT3, you're getting the Race Tech steering wheel with your drive mode selector knob. If you go PDK, you do have launch control, and there's a button here that gives you extra boost for a few seconds. Sort of like some other brands do. It is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then we got our dash. Nice large tachometer in the center that's analog. And then you actually have 4 instrument clusters, which are digital. 2 on one side, 2 on the other. I'm making my adjustments. You can see from Sport, Sport Plus, individual, normal, and wet. And then once you select, now what you could do is you could actually scroll. Look at this. I just pulled up my navigation. I just pulled up vehicle information. You could reduce it and get rid of everything, or you can make it come back. So nice the way they have that whole setup there. I like the way they kept a digital display for everything, but kept the tachometer analog. But you know what? We're gonna get to the front, show off how it stacks up against the C8 Corvette, and then we are going on throttle through the twisty bits. All right, guys, we got the front mounted hood open. What's underneath there? Obviously gonna be the front mounted trunk. What's great about it is you got plenty of room, easily put, I would say, 16 boxes of Twinkies. And I'm telling you, that's a party in a sports car right away. And it's interesting because remember, we do have that back seat area. The C8 Corvette, they have a front mounted trunk and that rear cargo area. Both of them very versatile, but let's see which one has the better on throttle. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go road through the 7-speed manual of this GTS. All right, guys, we're inside this 2022 Porsche 911 GTS on the 992 platform. And right away, what you're gonna find is that this Porsche makes sense. Being right in between the Carrera S and the mighty GT3, you're getting some of that extra goody goodness from Porsche when it comes to that extra performance, extra sound, extra feedback, but yet it's a more comfortable environment for sure compared to the GTS. Excuse me, compared to the GT3. I love the fact that we have, this one has the optional rear wheel steer. I feel like that's definitely an option box you want to check off because it really transforms the 911 coupe into one heck of an extra corner carver. Steering wheel, nice small size, just like the GT3. You got your drive mode selector switch. And of course, in this one, we have the 7-speed manual transmission. Just like any other 911, you get the seating position. It just makes sense in here. The vehicle being a little lower than a Carrera S, having the PASM system, it really shows that next level. All right, guys, if you're ready, I'm ready. First gear, on throttle, here we go. Golly! I tell you right now, it's amazing how those small turbos really just transform this 911. I mean, I get why on the Carrera S and this GTS, it has now that twin turbo setup. Now, obviously the turbos, like I said, are smaller than on the turbo, the actual 911 turbo, but you are definitely feeling the extra horsepower in this GTS. I love the pops, the bangs, the snap, crackle, pop, all the way up to about 7,500 RPM, still a screamer. And like I said, with that rear wheel steer, it just allows you, look at this, watch this U-turn here, 180 degree, look at this. Nice. It allows you to place the car exactly where you want it to. Now, it doesn't have as much grip as a GT3, but that's why, for those who want that extra heaping of mashed potatoes, you could get it going the GT3 route. But for a value package, and I don't like to use the word value too much, but the way that they package the options in this GTS really shows such a big value. Definitely the freaking less sound deadening just really wakes up the interior with the sounds you want to hear. Look at this. Brakes feel good. You're getting the turbo's brakes, so they're definitely gonna feel good, that's for sure. And I'm actually quite surprised how flexible the torque range is in this freaking GTS. Still very, very tossable, very precise. Nice. You can hear the front tires a little bit, getting that traction down, or at least working to get the traction down. But steering has a great feel. It's just unbelievable how the GTS has so much of what you expect from a 911. And really, as the 911 has evolved, some might say that, like, your standard Carrera is a little too soft. But this GTS, taking some of the goodies from the Turbo, taking some of the goodies from the Turbo S, and all the rest of them, it really just allows you to have such a good package. Such a good... All right, guys, you ready? I'm ready. On throttle! You feel the thrust from that boost. Yes! Love the freaking automatic rev match downshift feature. Look at this. It's like this car should not do what it's doing. And it just proves that, yeah, GT3s, if you want that extreme track, this GTS brings so much. So much. Look at this. I tell you, it really shows that Porsche really wants each of their 911 versions to be unique. And I can't believe just how much grip, how tossable this 911 GTS is. And then at the end of the day, you are getting some of those nice comfort features. I mean, I got heated and ventilated seats while I'm carving the twisty bits out here. It's like, wow, loving that. The way the dash is set up, very, very precise with the gauges, with all the instrumentation. I love the way they still have an analog tach. That's very important to me. Smack dabs just in the center, but you really feel, it's interesting how you're not waiting for that boost to come into play. And it just pulls like a freight train. We got to do an on throttle from a dead stop, don't we? We haven't done that yet. All right, you ready? I'm ready. On throttle, here we go, yeah! Golly! Really, really freaking nice. Really nice. And just the weight transfer, the way it communicates through the steering wheel, it's like you got that GT3 DNA in here, but it's not so hardcore. You could adjust the different settings, the suspension, the PASM system is definitely a must. If you're not buying a GTS, if you're just getting a Carrera, Carrera S, you want the PASM system. And I love the way that this one has the rear wheel steer. I feel like that's another box. You would have thought, hey, it's not really gonna be that big of a deal. I'm not taking it to the track. On a twisty road, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Wow. I mean, look at this. So smooth. You know, sometimes turbo engines can be very peaky. You know, you gotta wait for the boost to build, the revs to build, and then it kicks in. This thing, it comes in so low and just all the way through to 7,500 RPM. I mean, it's that freaking good. Lots of fun. Lots of fun in this thing. And I'm really digging with the Sport exhaust. It has that nice sound without being too over the top. You're not gonna get a ton of drone and stuff, which is great. Give you a headache on a highway or if you're driving to work. But then when you come out here, you're like, let it rip. Unfreaking believable. Wow. I mean, look at this. You're not having to like really manhandle the car. I mean, you just have that light feel, everything light on the inputs, and it just dances with you. It's just a great dancing partner. Not too hard around the edges. I could do this all day long. I really can. This is like freaking, I'm in heaven right now, and you're here with me. That's another thing. I mean, I have it in third gear now. Very, very flexible. Not having to work that shifter as much, which is a surprise too. I thought compared to a GT3, I'd be going up and down the gearbox like mad. It actually feels really, really, really good. Really good. All right, guys, one more time for me. Definitely one more time for you. On throttle, here we go. Look at this. Absolutely phenomenal. Love that freaking sound, man. When you get up to about 6,500 RPM, it's buzzing in your ear. The 7-speed is actually pretty damn precise. I am impressed with it compared to, say, the GT3's 6-speed. It really actually feels pretty freaking good. But like I said, for somebody who wants a little bit more than what the Carrera S brings, it's like it specs so nicely, and then you can put everything else on top of it. Sport suspension feels good. This PASM system, look at this. I love hearing the turbo spooling away. Look at that. Nice. But unfortunately, we need to wrap this one up. We need to get back to where it all started. I gotta give it back. Thanks for being on this one with me. We're gonna wrap it up. I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one heck of a day out here in the mountains of Georgia. Definitely want to thank the whole Porsche North American team, especially Luke, for getting us access to this brand new Carrera GTS. Let me know what you think. Has Porsche really made this a standout, that sweet spot in their lineup? Or are you gonna go with one of their other models? Or are you gonna go with the C8 Corvette? Put your response in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. We got to give it up to LG Raiti. Lori Raiti working that camera like a champ. Follow her on Instagram, Lori Raiti. Show her some love in the comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.